Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto markets. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss more institutions buying our crypto bags, why CT should care about prediction markets, and whether or not crypto has gone too mainstream. Good morning. Good morning. If you're listening over on Twitter Spaces, we appreciate you listening each and every day. If you give us a like, comment, bookmark, retweet, we would appreciate it. Help push us out there in the algorithm. If you're listening over on YouTube, drop a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about today, what tokens you're buying, what tokens you're selling, anything you're bullish on. If you're listening over on Zora, where we stream each and every day, let us know what you're trading over there. It's been about a week since we've talked. How are you feeling today? How have you been? I think I might be cut out. Can you guys hear me?
You lagged pretty hard.
Oh, were you talking to me then, Ray?
Yeah, I said, Sig, it's been about a week since we've talked. How have you been living? How you feeling?
Yeah, been good, man. Well, made a huge mistake last night. I don't know if you guys ever do that, but we had like indoor barbecue because obviously the weather is absolutely miserable and cold. Did it indoors and we ended up eating really, really late. And so ended up eating meat at like 11 o'clock. And this morning I like woke up like I had a hangover. I was just like, oh God, what is this? Could not get out of bed. I just had like the meat sweats that you get at night. Then it was pitch black. Then it was absolutely freezing. Then I was meant to be in New York where this weekend it snowed and I would have had like a magical intro to Christmas. But instead I just woke up to like gray skies, meat hangover, and sweats. So that's the beginning of my Monday. How's it going on your end?
Oh man, it's good here. It's cold. It is freezing here on the East Coast. We got snow on Saturday, so one of the more beautiful snows we've seen here. Whatever texture, whatever happened with it, it like stuck to all the trees, so like everything was white. Really cool. Got out golfing this weekend in the cold as well before the snow hit. That was fun. Love a good frost scramble out there hitting the ball on cement fairways. I saw you got out this weekend, Easy. How'd you hit them?
Shot an 89.
Ooh, let's
It
go.
was good. Could have been better. I've got the drive locked in, which feels good. But no, golf's been fun. I was on the field for the Jets-Jags game yesterday.
Yeah,
Jets got absolutely slaughtered.
How'd you get down there?
Don't ask questions you don't need answers to, Ray.
Did you walk up to the security guard and say, I predict you're going to let me down onto the field? And he said, oh,
Listen,
oh you got it.
Listen, sometimes things can just happen. So we made it happen. I was on the field. It was sweet. Saw the game up close and personal, which was really cool. The Jets lost by 28, so that was not fun. But
Did the Jets look as bad that close?
Yeah, they looked worse.
Man, that's a tough one. I feel for any Jets Giants fan. I mean, Giants at least got a little bit of love, a decade or so back. But Jets, it's been a tough one.
I don't know anything about the Jets except that Gary Vee wants to buy them. That's the only thing I know about the Jets. Yeah. Sorry, Izzy. That's probably like the worst thing to say. Yeah, that's all I need to know. But hey, I saw some great stats and a great retweet of that Hail Mary pass by that Eagles team. And I was like, wow, that was quite a touchdown. That was the perfect Hail Mary pass, I think. But anyway, that's enough. I'm not going to pretend I know enough about American football because I just mentioned that Gary Vee wants to buy the Jets. So I'll leave all that knowledge on your side, guys.
I missed the Eagles Hail Mary. Easy. Would you want Gary Vee to acquire the Jets?
I don't even care anymore. I don't care. I want us to lose every game for the rest of the season. So maybe we can get a decent draft pick and then we'll fuck that up too.
Where we at in like the crypto market graph, like the market structure graph? It's like despair at this point.
Yeah. But the despair line just keeps going down over and over for the next 40 years. That's where we're at.
Easy. You really remind me of my former Italian flatmate. Your face right now when his football, like soccer team, would lose all the time, and I could just walk in every Wednesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday when Champions League was on, and I could just tell by the look on his face and the food that he had in front of him what stage of the football season he was in. And you're really reminding me of his despair moment where he was in a mood for the next 48 hours. This is what the Jets are going through.
It's every day though. Every single Sunday. I know it won't be a good Sunday. I know that the Jets are going to lose. And if they win, it pisses me off even more because it's like, okay, it's now just going to be even worse because we're going to get like the 5th pick, which sucks. So, yeah, it's I look at my Jets fandom very similar to how the market is looking at crypto right now. And everyone just says it's over and it sucks and nothing good is happening and everyone's left. And it's like that analogy I've said a few times before is like, you can be late to the party, but you don't want to be the last one to leave. I'm the last one to leave the party for the Jets. I'm cleaning up after everyone else has thrown up everywhere. Somehow I got stuck with the bill too while I'm at it. It wasn't even my party, and they're asking for payment because whoever hosted it left. That's where I'm at, and I'm just
That's a true fan. That's a true fan, though.
Yeah, and the thing is, people are like, "Why don't you just become a fan of somebody else?" I'm like, "That's not really how it works."
That's not how it works, man. You like every generation. Like I remember when like back in the day, sorry, again, talking about soccer here. I remember when Arsenal was the shit. They were the best team ever. And then they had like 10 years of just disaster. And now look at them. They're back on top. So you're going to go through the same thing, Easy, but you got to stick with them. You can't be switching teams because then everyone's just going to call you, you're wet, basically. You're not a true fan and you can't be diehard and you're going to have to take down that poster behind you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I can't, people are like, yeah, why don't you just become like a Tampa Bay Bucks fan? I'm like, that's not how it fucking works. I'm 32 years old and I've rooted for the Jets for 32 goddamn years. Like, you don't just wake up one day and go, let's go Bucks.
Nope. No, you do not. If you're gonna buy the Jets like Gary V, though, only one place to really do that, and that's using the Gemini Credit Card. So you can get a little bit of Bitcoin back when he does that. I mean, that'd be a nice little chunk of change buying the Jets for what, a couple bill at this point. That'd be a nice little Bitcoin investment. Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation while they collect dust? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles over time. Now imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With a Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptocurrencies instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight into your account. Plus, sign up now for a $50 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Go to bodogos.com/Gemini to activate that bonus today. Love this card. Love getting the rewards. Love seeing my Gemini account crank up every time I buy something. Makes me feel less bad about spending money at the holidays. That being said, Sig, we've got a lot to talk about. How about we knock out a little weather report here and dive into it?
Yeah, right. Let's get into it. Let's get into this weather report on Monday, 15th December. Looking at that crypto roundup, the majors pulled back over the weekend with Bitcoin back under 90K again. Ethereum is over 3K at 3,100. Solana just hanging on to $132 after the conference, and Hype is sub 30 at $29. Over the weekend, top 3 stories. Well, firstly, it was another busy day for institutional adoption as good old JP Morgan launched the first tokenized money market fund on Ethereum. Credit card giant Visa launched a stablecoin advisory practice, which will provide actionable insights and recommendations to guide banks, fintechs, and merchants on strategy and implementation of stablecoins. Next up, the DATs, they've continued to add their crypto bags as Strategy purchased $980 million worth of Bitcoin. Tom Lee and Bitmine purchased $321 million worth of ETH last week, as they now almost own 4% of the total Ethereum supply. And then finally, Spanish police, they're not just celebrating Christmas, they're also doing work as they have dismantled a crypto kidnapping ring. They arrested multiple suspects and seized evidence linked to crypto wallets, communication devices, and ransom payments. Well done to the Spanish police. But that is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Excellent weather report, Signal, as always. A lot to unpack there. We saw some bullish news on the institutional side, continuing to see these big names adding new products on chain. We have tokenized money market funds from JP Morgan. Visa now not only implementing stablecoins, but advising other businesses on how to launch stablecoins and how to use it. We keep seeing like more and more of this bullish news and more of it going on TradFi rails. I saw a really interesting post that I want to dive into that kind of like touches on this and like adoption and like whether or not it's like quote unquote good for like our little niche of crypto. And this post comes from Fiscantes. He is a notable crypto poster. He gave basically a kind of vibes breakdown from Breakpoint on like where crypto is like with fintech. And I'll read some of this here. I'm gonna skip a couple parts, but I'm gonna read like the parts that really jumped out at me. So here's the tweet here. Crypto is on a trajectory to maturity. It becomes fintech stack to be used by any business as it merges with the rest of finance. Those who are here for revolution, crypto disrupting nation states, empowering sovereign individual, and cypherpunk ideals were probably disappointed with Breakpoint, as well as those who came for new, fresh, surprising ideas. Many presenters put on a brave face on stage, but in private, they were admitting to be slowly tapping out, especially early venture has a rough time finding quality deals and founders with original products. Stage was captured by the obvious narratives, tokenization of RWAs, stablecoins and payments, prediction markets, institutional interest. The OG cohort of builders is checking out. There's a lack of new builders, especially all the projects presented are around for a few years, and new ones are starting by pivoting crypto natives rather than new, fresh blood. On the investor and trader side, conquistadors who came in first to fight and extract gold from El Dorado are being replaced by settlers who come in to raise farms and govern colonies. For example, those who are here for the best performing asset class, hottest narratives, and fast multiples are making way for level-headed investors expecting reasonable returns and traders exploiting systemic inefficiencies. So a lot to unpack here, but basically just saying like TradFi coming in has like basically killed new like interesting products and has basically lowered the like amount of like 1000x's 100x's. People are here for regular gains and regular products. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this. Like, do you feel this kind of movement happening in crypto? Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do. I'm curious at your takes here.
Yeah, I definitely feel similar to what he's written here. It definitely feels like we're at the like put your big boy pants on stage. TradFi is here, but I don't completely disagree. Sorry, I don't completely agree that we're at the stage of sort of plateauing. So his message is basically saying that there's no more 1000x's. We're slowly moving to regular returns. But if you look at what the stock market is giving, so S&P historically is around sort of like 5 to 7%. I don't think we're at that stage yet. Innovation is slowing. Innovation is not as rapid as it was, say, 10 to 15 years ago. But I also think like it needs time. And the market is evolving. So in the last, I've basically been in crypto since 21, easy sort of like since 2015 or so. We've both seen sort of innovation products, team cycle through. But I think everything we're seeing is what you see in any market. It's no difference. Like you look at the fitness market and how much the fitness market has just changed even in the last 5 to 7 years. And where innovation is coming from is not the same places that it was coming from before. So I think we're not going to get innovation necessarily from the established players. You don't really get innovation from IBM. You're going to get innovation from smaller players. But I think the incentives have changed. Before, the founders who were in the space were probably, like the early founders were definitely incentivized by the narrative and the ethos and the reasons why the reasons why everybody believed in crypto 20, 15 years ago. That changed, obviously, as you had monetary incentives. But I think the people who are going to come in now are going to be the people who want to build on top of what is here now, what is fintech. But I think we're going to get a lot of new players. I don't think we're going to be seeing like JP Morgan spin off a small startup and it's going to somehow be the next big thing within crypto. I think now we're going to have to look to new founders who are coming from different areas that might not necessarily even be in the space right now. It kind of makes me a bit sad, but I kind of been seeing this play out as well in real time. So I'm not really surprised.
Nobody likes it.
Growth and change. There you go. Yeah.
Nobody likes growth until it actually happens. It was like when we saw the meme coins start taking off, all the NFT people were like, meme coins are just a fad. And now you're seeing a bunch of meme coiners say prediction markets are just a fad. Stuff just becomes more optimized. And I think from the market, there's still going to be 100Xs, 1000Xs, all that stuff. Like there's always opportunity. I look back to 2016 to now, and there was always opportunity. I look back at DeFi summer to NFTs, there was always opportunity. There's always been opportunity. That's the thing, and there always will be opportunity. So I think a lot of this like speculation that opportunity is dead and the market's going to zero or going to trade along the stock market, isn't that what everybody wanted? They wanted more capital to inflow. They wanted the justification and the legitimacy of the market to be recognized. And yeah, we're getting that. So like, what do you think was going to happen? That volume would still be inconsistent and low volume stuff would be the stuff that rapidly moves. It's just not how it happens. And I think that a lot of that is like the sadness of people realizing that this is the reality of the situation. I don't know. I look at it and I'm just like, if you're upset, it just means that you're not able to pivot and realize that despite times changing, opportunity will always be present. And I look at it from a perspective of like, my big thing is just like how shitty Twitter's become. And it's not so much like users, but it's just the app. Like the app sucks now. You can't have conversation with anybody because it's all AI responses that are just copy pasted. I've seen the same response 3 or 4 times on multiple different posts from the same account just because it's AI slop garbage, which I think is causing this deterrence for a lot of people to be like, well, this sucks. The market's dying. Everyone's left. When in reality, it's just like the market shifted. And I think Twitter will still be a hub for a lot of this stuff. But it's also just like the education style of it is like TradFi is getting involved. You're seeing legitimacy behind a lot of stuff. And I think the more you look at that, the more you have to be okay with like just a different narrative push here. It's just like stuff's going to change and you almost have to be okay with that.
Stuff's going to change. I agree with, sorry, Ray, go.
I was going to say, yeah, stuff is definitely going to change. I think that there is a large subset of listeners and a large subset of participants in crypto Twitter who are looking at Twitter as like being the area to find those outsized gains. I don't know if it is the place to do that anymore or like the most obvious place to do it. I think that there is an argument to be made that like robotics and AI could be that next place to find those huge gains. I think we are seeing like a dilution of like the amount of 100Xs, 1000Xs. Yes, they will always be here. But I think that you're not going to see anywhere near the amount of froth we saw last cycle, where you were literally minting the dumbest NFTs. Everyone did a 5 to 10 to 100X the next day. And there's just a subset of people who cannot win unless they're presented with that sort of froth, I think. And I think they are being they are very disheartened. I think anybody who, like Easy said, has the ability to pivot or can be disciplined and like actually look for like new interesting ideas is going to be just fine. But I do think there is a cohort, and I think it's a loud cohort that is like really, really upset with the way that things are going, because we continue to see bullish news, but it's not pumping price. It's not pumping altcoin bags. It's not pumping things down the risk curve. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say on that. I think also a part of that reason is because the people who came in at that time, it was like a perfect storm. It was like free money, trapped in a house, everybody permanently online. It was such almost like black swan event, but thrown in with free money. It was so extreme, and everyone's behavior was anchored on environmental factors, which essentially it was up only. It reminds me of a friend who told me about a trader who was working in an investment bank, and he was considered the star trader of the bank because he was trading commodities at a time when commodities only went up. They only went up, and they only went up for years and years and years. And this guy made so much money. And then as soon as the bear market happened, he essentially fell off his pedestal and tumbled down to being one of the worst traders. And it's sort of like where you're like how you get your experience kind of makes like it gives you a world viewpoint in how you make your money. So if you're only used to making money in an up market and you can't make it in a down market, it's really hard to make money in a down market. But if you've made your money in a down market and then you're going in an up market, that plays into your favor. And I think that's sort of what has happened here a bit, that it's just been like 2021 meme coins, and now we've shifted to prediction markets, and that cohort of people don't want to change at all. And they just kind of want to keep making easy money. And unfortunately, it's not there because the markets are becoming more efficient over time.
Yeah, I think I don't think we're gonna see that easy money again. And I agree with what you're saying. Discourse in the comments got me like thinking a little bit here. He says, legit curious, what's your bottom/future forecast for say NFTs? I'm gonna say 0, but that inherently makes no sense with value there and teams building. I don't know value and team. I mean, what's the value A? And then teams building. I don't know what that.
What makes price go up? That's the thing. Like, that's the reality of it, is like, what incentivization is going to cause price action to increase?
Yeah, and if you're looking at like, so look at them as collectibles, like pure play collectibles. Like, what collectibles from the 90s are like worth money today? And it's like Beanie Babies, some subsets of trading cards. Like, you have to like know that most of these are going to fail. I'd say 9 out of 10 of blue chip NFTs are probably going to fail. Like, you could say like Moonbirds, Doodles, Apes, Pudgies, Sappy Seals. You can name 10 NFT collections, and I think only one of them will be relevant in 5 years, 10 years. And like, I think that's just how startups work. I think that people like Discourse, like, who are saying like, okay, like these things have to pump. Why aren't they pumping? This is the cohort of people that are looking for those quick gains that I just don't think are here anymore and aren't going to show up again in this market.
I don't think the opportunities will still show up.
What do you say?
I think the opportunities will still be present.
You do? You think we're going to see them in the same quantity that we've seen them in the past?
Yep.
I just don't know if there's enough liquidity to go around. It's a lot of different places fighting for your capital right now. But I love to see that, and I'm ready. I mean, I'm basically sitting here like I am frothing at the bit for new opportunities. I've been sitting on my hands. I'm somebody who does a lot of clicking normally, and I just haven't had reason to click over the last month, ever since 10/10, month and a half now at this point. So
yeah, but we did have a very strong period in summer to be clicking buttons. Like June, July, August was basically up only and just click as many buttons as you can. And then we've cooled off. Like, we cooled off September. 10/10 was a blow up, and I think people are conserving capital. I think that's one of the things that's very hard to measure, is how much capital there is on the sidelines just waiting to be deployed until something interesting comes up, and then all that capital comes just rushing back into the space. And you see that, for example, with the Mega ETH pre-deposit, right? Even though it didn't go the way the team wanted, when the opportunity was there, capital just came flooding back. So I just think, even though it's quiet and people might not be being explicit on Twitter about what buttons they're clicking, what are the opportunities, that capital is idle and waiting.
I hope so. When I was looking for like collectibles, like I was like trying to take a look like what other collectibles were big from the 90s for when Discourse made that comment. One of the ones that popped up is this, and my daughter was like basically throwing this thing around downstairs earlier today. It's like a toy I guess I got from my mom, but I need to go down and double check because this looks exactly like what she was playing like with this morning. This thing's worth $200. She might not be playing with it for too much longer. I don't know if
Papa just comes over and is like just stealing the Sky Dancer. I'd be doing the same. Be like, huh? How much is that worth? We need to go to eBay immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about prediction markets. We saw an interesting quote from Rasmer, basically saying that CT shouldn't care about prediction markets, and then NFT Stats doubled down on the comment, basically saying like, hey, I don't invest in prediction markets. They're not growing the crypto pie. Why do I care about prediction markets succeeding? And he compared it sort of to like, it's like me caring about Meta earnings when I don't own the Meta stock. I would love to hear your take on this, Easy. Like if you agree, disagree, have extra thoughts. I have a couple thoughts too, but I want to hear what you have to think first.
Dude, it's another one of those things. Like, I just don't give a shit what somebody else thinks about it. I don't. I don't care. Everyone I've talked to about prediction markets who's been crushing prediction markets doesn't even fully understand crypto. They just don't. They're not crypto natives. They don't care about crypto. Like, one of the best guys I've interacted with is this guy Ewan. He turned 15K into 600K trading prediction markets. He's a former poker player. He made $113,000 in 17 days, right? So, like, there's size to be made. There's capital to be traded with. He trades every market, and the only thing he does is analyze Polyscan. He's never come from crypto, and he learned how to do that. The few of the other people that I've talked to, especially on like the mention market front, stuff like that, they're not crypto native, and they don't have any interest in the crypto ecosystem. And the more I look into this, the more people I talk to, the more ecosystems I engage with in the prediction market side of things, they're not crypto natives. They do not care about crypto at all. So I'm like, yeah, that feels good that it's a net new audience. So I'm like, this is way more interesting. And I understand people are like, well, it doesn't make my bags go up. Sure, it doesn't. That sucks. Fine. There's going to be opportunities where you can invest in the stuff that's going to make your bags go up. Look at Myriad token when that launches. It's clear as day a Polymarket token is launching. It wouldn't shock me if we saw a ecosystem where Kalshi IPOs. So right then, there's your opportunity to get exposure. Why would you not want to be familiar with these assets before the opportunities presented where it directly affects your bags? That's like the most confusing thing to me, is like when I look at something where a lot of people are not invested or don't see the opportunity, it's like, yeah, this makes me feel way better about my decisions here because it's less competition. It's okay. If you're not interested in diving headfirst into this stuff, that's fine. It just doesn't change my thesis at all because your bags are not going up. I don't have direct exposure to any of this stuff, but I still want to be extremely familiar with it so that when I do, I'm at the front lines of it and I know what's going on. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's like, many people are excited for SpaceX IPO. You have no exposure to the SpaceX IPO right now. So why are you caring that it's launching? Because you think the price can go up. Like, these assets are going to come into a market where you can invest and will have direct opportunity to have a bag increase. So why not be familiar with the assets? That's like, it's I like Farouk's comment that it's very short, or ICOB's comment that it's very short-sighted, because I agree. And it's like the total addressable market for prediction markets is a much larger pool than it is for crypto. Like, the whole world can theoretically understand a prediction market. There's this guy, Jack Duvall, who's like going all in on meme coins and is like basically cussing out prediction markets because of this chart, which shows the trends for prediction markets versus meme coins. Meme coins are basically dead, right? Like, the interest has been all-time low since September. Prediction markets continue to have these blips that just skyrocket them. So once again, I'm like, okay, clearly there's an audience that's way more interested in them. Why would I not want to be interested in the thing that retail's interested in? Especially as like a content creator, somebody whose job is to stay on top of trends and participate in an ecosystem. That's what I look at. And I'm like, yeah, this is way more interesting to me. Like, I personally just don't care if crypto Twitter is in love with prediction markets or not, because I see opportunity there. So I want to tackle it.
Yeah, I think if you're in prediction markets and you have the ability to do well there, I think that it makes a ton of sense. Like, obviously there's opportunity in prediction markets, but if you're somebody who doesn't like, if you're somebody who's not like somebody who doesn't like to just wager or gamble, essentially, but I mean, everything in crypto is essentially one form of gambling.
If prediction markets are gambling, trading stocks are gambling. That's how I look at it. There's an information edge that you can be conscious of on either side, in which an end result is going to happen. Like in equity, price is either going to go up or down because of finite financial assets undermining it.
Right, but I think there's a class of people who basically liken it to sports gambling, but sports gambling on everything in terms of like that's feel. And there's people like that. That's just not their cup of tea, but they do feel like they have an advantage in gambling on like price action on crypto, or they have an edge on finding what the new next crypto narrative is, and that's a lot easier to or it might be a lot easier for them to express a position in than it is for them to like figure out how to express that position on a prediction market, because a lot of emerging prediction markets have low liquidity initially, and like you're not gonna be able to find like necessarily the best fill. Existing markets that do have like higher liquidity, you can find an edge, but then you're competing with a larger subset of people. So I think there's like a little bit of difference between the two. And I think that there are a number of things that I find very interesting about prediction markets and why you should care as someone who doesn't use them. I think one is bringing more people on chain eventually. You know, Kalshi is going from off chain to on chain right now, which is super interesting. Polymarket's been on chain the entire time. And that's one step closer to having these new retail participants with crypto in their pockets, ready to deploy into on-chain narratives, pumping our bags. Two, I think it unlocks a ton of super interesting DeFi primitives that we haven't seen yet. Being able to like leverage yield off delta neutral positions, being able to hedge different bets via DeFi on like some of these interesting prediction markets that like could like correlate to macro events or macro decisions like Fed rate cuts. I think there's a ton of interesting DeFi opportunities for a platform to basically launch and offer. So I think there's a ton of interesting things that can happen with prediction markets going forward that would benefit CT at large. And I think that overlooking prediction markets is short-sighted, like you're saying, and like ICO Beast is saying. I do think like sometimes it does seem like it's a lot. And it really is all the timelines talking about. But I think right now, like in terms of outsized rewards for on-chain activity, like I think I think prediction markets right now might be the best there is. And I think that might upset some people as well, if that makes sense, because they're looking
right back to the conversation we just had. People don't like change.
Yeah.
No one ever likes change. It's a sad reality of it. But at the same time, it's like if you don't embrace change in some capacity, you typically end up getting left behind.
Yep, 100%.
Like,
yeah.
Pick your poison, embrace it or don't. That's the benefit of your choice, is you can figure out what it is you want to do with your time, energy, and effort. And if you don't agree with me, so be it. I feel strongly about it. So I'm going to continue to put my chips where I believe the market is going to continue moving. I've done it before. I enjoy that type of bet and that analysis on something. And also, I just enjoy the content. That's the thing, is like I enjoy following things and learning. And there is no better place to learn about a variety of different topics than prediction markets. Like the last 2 weeks I could tell you more about Counter-Strike esports because of the last 2 weeks than I have basically ever. And before that, I could have told you everything about the Honduras election. And before that, I could tell you about everything in Gemini's release schedule for their AI. You know, like it's just fun to become infatuated with a topic because of a financial investment that you have in it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also the fair point. Are you doing better predicting or trading? Significantly better trading. But it's also because predicting is new to me. Like when I started trading, it was ugly. It was very ugly. I lost bankroll after bankroll and continued to re-up. And like I just said, it's more about getting in the arena and taking swings and finding your opportunities and figuring out what works for you. So like that for me is where I'm like, yeah, I want to spend my time here because I'm confident I can end up finding the edge that makes sense for me as an individual. And I think not enough people are taking that avenue. It's the same thing with memes. How many people found an edge in memes that made sense for them? Yeah, we do work with Polymarket, but the same thing goes for Kalshi. The same thing goes for Myriad. If you ask me what the best farming protocol and opportunity is for an airdrop right now, it's Myriad. And I'll tell you that with a smile on my face. It's the least diluted with the best opportunity for asymmetric upside, regardless of your capital size. So like if you're interested in prediction markets, the first place I would tell you to start is Myriad Markets because the competition is significantly lower and the upside potential is significantly higher for the future airdrop.
It's interesting as well. Like I feel like what we're seeing play out here is everybody's reflection of what crypto is. Everybody has a very personal, deep connection to what they think crypto is. If you look at what Simon Dixon tweets, he's only Bitcoin, 100% Bitcoin, and he's not going to tweet about NFTs or anything else. And then NFTs come along, and that cohort of people are saying that NFTs are just, a pile of rubbish. Doesn't mean anything, but there's a cohort who loves it. Then we go to meme coins, and everybody is now shitting on NFTs and saying meme coins are the thing to be in. And yet there's a group of people resisting meme coins, and you try to resist for a really long time, and you just realize that that is a zeitgeist, and that is what it's going to be for 3 years. Everybody finally accepts it. Companies adopt their strategies to include memes, meme coins. everything around it. And then we move again, and now we're on prediction markets. And what's interesting is that I'm not particularly interested in prediction markets. I'm not a gambler, but if I see something, I'm like, you know what? I have knowledge in that space and I think I have an edge. I'm going to take that bet. Like, what I find interesting about Easy is that as a trader, he's such a trader that he can basically see any opportunity, and where there's money and capital and volume, he'll go to that. And not everybody is a trader, and that's why their personality doesn't lean to different opportunities. I think people want to stay in their lane that they define as crypto and are very happy to be there. Prediction markets, like for me, for me, how I see it is that if I'm talking to a friend and they have a lot of knowledge around, I don't know, it could be anything. It could be like, how many products of Kim Kardashian's, I don't know if you saw, but Kim Kardashian's line, Skims, they brought out a pair of knickers that looked like basically pubic hair. And it was wild. It was the most wild thing you've ever seen. And I'm sure there was a bet out there about how many units of this item she would sell. I don't know if there was, but this stuff absolutely sold out. That is a conversation I could have with a friend about fashion, about Kim, and if they have knowledge of Kim Kardashian, on whether how much they think Skims is going to sell, and they're going to do that transaction in a stablecoin or on a credit card. But it just keeps evolving, and I think it's positive that we're going to have people be able to use crypto rails on different platforms, on different products in different ways, in a way that they would never have done before, because the previous NFTs, meme coins, just buying vanilla Bitcoin or buying vanilla or anything just wouldn't have suited them. So I do think that even though prediction markets might not suit everyone, I think it's a great way of bringing a different class of people in that would never have come in before.
Yeah, I agree, and I enjoy them. And I think that we're going to continue. Oh, sorry, I pulled Sig off the stage instead of changing the layout there. That's my bad. I do enjoy them. I don't participate enough, and like it's on my list to like really dive in, and I want to be kind of doing the more yield plan on it, because I don't have the skill and or time to be able to like navigate these markets right now. And I don't have, I guess, like that's kind of the skill that Easy's been building. And I think it takes time with these. It's going to take tooling and time.
I also really enjoy this comment. And I normally beef with Big P Energy, which is his former name. So now it's a small P Energy. 99% of people won't win using prediction markets because they're too lazy to understand and properly research. Bots are a huge issue on the current prediction markets in IO as well. The bot thing, yes and no, because it like helps liquidity and volume and automation. But the thing is, everyone I've talked to that's doing well in prediction markets wants it more. That's the simplest thing, is they want it more. They spend more time researching. They spend more time finding an edge. The best story I heard is that person I was talking about, Ewan, I think the interview is dropping this week, basically said that he went through Polyscan, found an ENS tied to somebody, found their LinkedIn through the ENS, and saw that they were tied to an OpenAI through like their job. So they had the information, probably through an embargo or some type of media outlet, where they were able to go and make that move. So I'm just like, yeah, like they wanted it more. They found the edge and they capitalized on it, which is why I personally also think meme coin people would actually be some of the best prediction market traders. They're familiar with how to read on chain. They're familiar with how to track wallets. They're familiar with how to track trading and sourcing funds for a lot of things. And those same skills move over to prediction markets. When you find people that have an information edge that you do not have, it pays you to tail them because it's a binary event. Even if they nuke their shares, it can still resolve yes. So I'm like, this makes the most sense to me for the meme coin people, because I think they would just be incredible at it because they have the skill set already. So I just think it's the change thing. People don't embrace change and they want to continue to live in the golden days. And don't get me wrong, there's still people out there. Like there's some Fortnite kids I've been seeing that are still doing really well on meme coins, but I don't have the time to create 45 wallets and stare at the chart every second and dump right before they dump. So I'm like, that's not interesting to me. What I have time to do is find the position on a market that's resolving in the next couple of days and see what the likelihood is, or if that percentage feels off because it's either higher or lower than it should be. Like that's interesting to me.
One thing that I find with prediction markets is they feel more lonely, in that I feel like traders are incentivized to only share their positions after they've really gotten a position, because I feel like a lot of these you can really move the order books. It's hard to like have these consensus PVE wins on these predictions, because once something becomes PVE, the way the club works and the liquidity on the platform, it's too late to get value, if that makes sense. Whereas like you're talking in meme coin groups, and like price upside is infinite, and people are PVE, and like you're getting a lot of alpha from other people. I feel like the alpha is more close to the chest in the prediction market space until positions are like really taken. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, but that's just something that kind of I've noticed. But it could be just I'm not trading them, so I'm not as active in that community.
Yes and no, because people share information edges, especially on like mention markets. That's a big piece of it. And when liquidity is moving on like events that are active, you can get fills basically all over the place. So yes and no. I think it's to me, you say it's lonely. I say that it's just like finding an audience. It's just because we're so used to a crypto audience, right? Like that's it. We're just very used to the crypto native audience, which is constant communication, constant talking, constant embrace. And
It's
yeah,
my
that's a
favorite
great
comment of the
comment.
show.
It's like constant embrace, constant conversation and communication. And there are groups and pockets that do the same with prediction markets. It's just, once again, crypto Twitter is not prediction market Twitter. It's two totally separate worlds.
Lifelong Jets fan says people aren't willing to embrace change. Maybe my favorite comment of the show.
It's really good.
Oh man. All right, so we've talked about prediction markets for a decent bit. Do you have any alpha for us? What are you betting?
Not right now.
None.
I was gone all weekend, so I didn't really have like a ton of time to look through it. I'm sure today I'll find some stuff.
Makes sense. We did have some big buys in the crypto landscape. Michael Saylor, $980 million worth of Bitcoin purchased. We had Tom Lee, on the other hand, buying $321 million worth of ETH last week. Looking over at Strategy's Bitcoin buys, second week, just under $1 billion. 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's deployed over $800 million over the course of those weeks. We're beginning to see these buys heat up, and that I don't know, that's the only thing keeping the price afloat, or if it's a signal for things to come. The last time we had these sort of buys, with like consistent buys, was like almost like May of last year, when he was dumping like over $1 billion on almost a weekly basis into Bitcoin. So interesting to see where it goes from here. His average Bitcoin cost is now up to almost $75,000. I think he's up about 15 billion total on the trade. That continues to go down as he averages up. And then we have Tom Lee and Bitmine approaching the 4% mark. They're trying to get to 5%. They're at 3.2% now. They hold $12 billion worth of Ethereum. Nobody close to catching up. Sharplink Gaming, sub 1% there, with a little bit over, or a little bit under $3 billion worth of Ethereum. Continuing to see institutions buy. Sig, I'm curious if you have a read on Saylor here. Do you think he's just buying the dip? Do you think there's going to be more buys coming up? Do you think this is like kind of like he was waiting for a while? We had a very long period where he wasn't making these buys. It was like 3 or 4 months, and now he's all of a sudden aping in. Do you think this continues, or do you think this could be maybe a one-off?
No, I think he's going to continue buying. And I think that pause that we had for that 3 to 4 months was when we were hovering around that 112 range, went up to 120, and then sort of just like hung around there for, well, basically crab walking for a really long time. It's good. It's good to see him continue to buy this dip. The whole point of Strategy is essentially dependent on what he's doing now and the derivatives and the products that he's building off the back of it. So, but I have to say, I'm not that interested to see what he's doing. I feel like there's so many players in the space now. I'm more interested to see like, what is Robinhood going to do? What is Revolut going to do? Like, what are the rails that are going to be built on top of the best existing fintech products? That is what gets me really excited, because I feel that will make crypto so much easier to use when you'll be able to just go on, off, do XYZ, play with XYZ products. But Strategy buying, I'm just like, okay, good to see this happening. Everything is still okay. We're in a bit of a muted period right now. But I also think this is the best time in a way when things are quieter, because you're able to see the teams that keep building. It's easier to hear products, announcements. And it's always like 6 months from now where you're like, oh, I disappeared and I wasn't around at that time, but XYZ platform dropped this. And now 6 months later, their token is coming out and the price is going up. Kind of like what happened with Plasma. You know, a lot of people are like, when did that happen? Why wasn't I involved in that? And you kind of just had to be around and listening to the daily news to know that was happening. And I feel like that is what's happening now. So we're in a quiet period, easy to keep up with releases. And then 6 or 12 months from now, we're going to have that up period again. So for me, strategy buying means everything is okay. Things are as usual, de facto, nothing has changed. Ethereum holding around this 3K mark, everything's good. And we just see what happens in 2026.
Yeah. I mean, I'm bullish on the buys. I don't think they're necessary. And I think that the tailwinds are more necessary, even if they aren't exciting and haven't been exciting in terms of price. So I think I agree with you there. So we'll have to see. I think the biggest catalysts are going to come maybe February, March, ahead of the new Fed chair coming in. And that's where we're going to see a lot of turmoil, volatility, and potentially a bit of a pump. I think we're in a holding pattern here. And I think it looks good that he's buying the dip for once, as opposed to dumping $2.5 billion in at near all-time highs. That kind of spooked him away for a bit, but it's good. I think it shows confidence too in Bitcoin to see strategy buying. I think that does have a knockoff effect on other DATs to maybe get a bit of confidence seeing that Saylor is buying. So I do think it's important, at least in that regard, that it could introduce a little bit more volume, liquidity, et cetera, coming from DATs. We talked a little bit earlier.
I was going to say as well, sorry, just on this point, I think people forget as well how long the market can crab walk. Because you remember when we were around 60K, it felt like we were there for about 12 months. I remember not this summer, but the summer before, and just going into that, there was just such a slow news cycle in crypto. And I think if you're constantly waiting for the price to go up so that you can just be pushing buttons and that moment never comes, that's when you can start to lose interest and not pay attention. And that's when you miss the opportunities. And I actually think, and again, I am not pro prediction market. I am completely indifferent to them, but just having something that keeps you in the loop on the news about what's going on, so that when the market does come back, you haven't been away for so long that you have no idea what's going on. So I think don't underestimate how long we can stay in this range. I hope we don't do a 12-month crab walk, but we could be here a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at 2024, March to October, we ranged 54K to 74K for 9 months.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, 6 months. 6 months of range there. But we've had these smaller periods too. We had the tariff sell-off, and then range from March to basically just April, end of April into May. And we saw the DATs take off, and that basically ran things new all-time highs. So it's a matter of new catalysts coming in. I mean, if you're looking at, you're just looking at a trend line, and you're looking at prices going up and to the right, so maintaining trend important. There's no reason to overcommit right now too. I mean, we're not in a raging bull market. I'd say we're closer to a mini bear market than anything. So preserving capital and then taking stabs at good plays, I think, is the way to go. We talked earlier about X and the bot problem. This really comes to a head, especially on crypto Twitter with Kaito and other InfoFi platforms. Zach XBT released a chart basically showing demographics of InfoFi platforms. It's 25% of all of them are coming out of Nigeria, maybe bot farms there. Yuhu, the CEO of Kaito, came out and basically gave his thought on marketing and InfoFi, and essentially has introduced a new mechanic, which I think could be interesting for CT. But basically requiring a minimum level of reputation or on-chain usage to qualify for Kaito rewards. One metric they're going to add, which I think is super interesting, is follower net worth, which is kind of cool to me, because it's something that you can't really fake this liquidity, on-chain liquidity, and being able to use that as a metric is very interesting for companies who want to tap into your audience, because if you have a proven audience that you're providing value to that is high worth, then that's a good target for a company to come in and say, hey, I want you to provide exposure to my brand. I want you to provide information surrounding whatever we're building. So I think this is like good step forward. The issue with the like Kaito implementing things like this is just there's a lot of competition in the InfoFi space, and we've seen a number of different platforms pop up. You have Zeet, Kaito, you can name 4 or 5 others, and every one of them is basically fighting for the same both company share and user share. People want they want the users to be like using their platform. They want the creators to be using their platform. So it's a matter of like where they're going. I think we're going to see a bit of competition and who's going to implement these like stricter gates. It's going to be anyone's guess, but anything that could reduce the spam on crypto Twitter would be ideal. I don't think it's coincidence that Kaito launched this year and then crypto Twitter became miserable in terms of trying to have like a conversation. So hopefully this can fix things in the medium term. Maybe Elon can fix things in the medium term as well, but I do agree that crypto Twitter is becoming a tough place to like have like reasonable discourse if you're not really curating your timeline. It's hard to do that. I mean, one thing I've been doing, I've been basically anytime I get a obvious AI reply, they just get muted and blocked, and hopefully enough people can do that it limits their reach and it basically nukes engagement. But I feel like anytime you do that, they can just spin up another account. So we'll see what happens there. Anything else you guys want to talk about, cover from the weekend? I know we've talked about a ton today. Anything else in your minds?
Nope.
Sorry, Ray. I got to hop early, so I'm going to say bye to y'all.
All right. Well, see you, Sig. Great having
See
you
you
on.
guys.
Thank you all.
Bye.
It's been a wonderful Monday on our show after a nice little weekend. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. We do this podcast Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. You can catch us on all major podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple. You can catch us on YouTube or Zora. Watch what we're talking about back